go. This is what you guys are going to watch.
It's my well-earned reward after a laborious afternoon of wood stacking. It's also a never-ending wellspring of material for my husband's jokes.
My husband got some stitches from moving wood, so I thought that'd be appropriate to film.
Hello, welcome to the Wandering Stitches Knitting Podcast. My name is Jess, and this is episode 6. Yep, I have been sharing on a weekly basis my crafty adventures, and I am so thankful that you're here checking this out, and I hope you enjoy the content. I super appreciate the subscribes, likes, and comments. I really look forward to reading the comments and interacting with the viewers. I am always looking to build a community in the crafty arena and just share ideas and share the journeys. And I've had a lot of fun meeting new podcasters and interacting with them. I am on Instagram at Wandering Stitches, and I'm also on Ravelry at MyKnittedBrow. And most of the projects, so all of the projects that I talk about are linked on Ravelry with the yarns and any of the smaller details that I do. I will link in the description box all of the patterns and things that I mentioned. And the first thing that I will mention is the yarn shop that I visited in Damariscotta. That was one of the stops on the yarn cruise, and I was excited to get a stamp and to meet Linda, the lady behind Harbor Yarns. And she is a wonderful hand dyer here in Maine. She has a beautiful shop. The yarns are just gorgeous, and it was really difficult to pick one that went with my color scheme. I did find something though, as you'll see in the video footage that I took of my trip there. I also made a stop at the whaleback shell midden little nature walk, and I'll show you that. And I am going to talk about my work in progress right now. And actually, so it's right here. It's the Lost Tank, and if you've watched from previous episodes, you know this has been ongoing for the last month. And I'll just show you my project bag. Yep, I reuse the Crown Royal bags because they're perfect for small projects, and they actually, when you cake up the 200-yard skeins of yarn, they actually make a really nice koozie for the yarn, and they're great for just traveling. I am gonna unravel this here. So I thought it would be kind of fun to have you finish this alongside me, and I will kind of just talk about the details of this. Like I said, this is the Lost Tank. I'm trying to find a decent spot where I can hold it up for you. So here's the front. It's like a cropped tank, and it's for my niece. I knitted it in the size small, and yeah, so I used the yarn from yarn.com, and it is the Kobayashi. It is cotton, bamboo, and silk, and it is the violet colorway, and it was easy construction. We cast on here in the back, knit down, and then picked up here and knit the shoulder straps, and then cast on for the front and knit down to the armholes, and then joined in the round, knit in the round. And then what I had done since the last time you had seen this, when I was knitting in the woods, I had done the armholes, and sorry, my yarn is like tickling my Josie's ears, so I'm trying to like get the, so it's a folded hem, and I will show you in more detail what that means, but it's got a nice finish to it, and it kind of adds a little bit of sturdiness to it, and so the neckline is the same thing, and I have some live stitches here. So what I did was, you pick up the stitches from here, and you just knit stockinette stitch, which is just knitting in the round. So I did like 8 rounds, and then did a purl row, so that way, and then you knit some more, and when you're ready to fold it over, the purl stitch kind of just gives it that natural crease. And I'm not doing a good job of holding it up for you guys here. So it just gives, and I'll show you the finished part. So it just gives it that natural crease, and so it will lie flat, as opposed to it being kind of poofy, I think. And so, Josie, you're kind of in the way now. And so, like I said, I thought it would be kind of fun to just have you finish alongside me. And yeah, I'll show you how I do it. So I'm going to just angle the camera down, and I think I might tell Josie to take a hike. Or maybe we could try this and you could just see, you could see Josie. Let's see, make sure the camera is not going to fall over. All right, Josie. So what happens is I will pick up a stitch here from the edge, put it on the needle, the left-hand needle, knit it together, and then take the other stitch and pull that over. And so yeah, this is for my niece, and I believe I'm gonna see her in November, so I was really sort of hard pressed to get this finished, even though it's not summer anymore. But she is almost a teenager, and I think teenagers, well, they'll wear anything any time of year, right? And she can just lounge around in this thing. It is sometimes, when you are putting so much work and effort into it, it's hard to live up to the, I don't know, the performance anxiety, like I said, of giving somebody something that they may not really understand or care for it as much as you would want them to, or appreciate it. But I do enjoy knitting something for people, and I enjoy seeing them love it and wear it and that's the biggest compliment, is when you do get something that is handmade, to wear it and to cherish it and to take care of it. And I think that's another sort of difficult thing for people who are not knitters, like the idea of having to wash their wool, hand wash their wool, and to air dry it and stuff is just really tough. So I like this yarn because it's cotton, bamboo, and silk, and so I think she can just put it in the wash cold, delicate cycle and just hopefully either, I think it will even withstand the drying machine on low. But wool is tough, I think, for a lot of people, and then it's too itchy. But anyways, whoops, there we go. Yeah, so with the holidays coming up, I am thinking of making towels, dish towels. I have a loom that I can make some towels pretty quick. I am thinking about doing that. But yeah, I think it would be kind of stressful. I think I knit one year, I knit my husband a hat, and then I knit my daughter a pair of socks, and that was really, really kind of stressful for me. So I'm on the last 5 stitches here, and then I will say that this is a finished object. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this part. I appreciate you hanging out, and I just chat a little bit more about the change of season. So with the change of season, we have been having to stack wood because that is our primary source of heat. We have one of those outside boilers types things, so we primarily will heat with wood, and we have a wood stove in the basement to supplement when it gets below freezing. And so that is what we have been doing, and I'll show you some footage of that because that's always fun. And I don't know why, but maybe you share the love of, there's something about the sound of wood stacking. I don't know, it's kind of like I like the sound of when you're at a driving range, the sound of golf balls. I don't know what the word is. What am I trying to say? Other than just, when somebody whacks the golf ball down the fair. Is that what it's called? The fair. Fairview? No. I don't know. Anyways. Or when somebody hits the baseball or softball at that sweet spot and gets like a home run. You can really, I love that. So that is the last stitch there. And I'll get my scissors. And I hear my daughter calling. So you just pull that through, you snip it, you pull that out, and we'll weave that in, and that is finished. So yay, a finished object. So I used a US size 3 needle, and I bought 3 skeins of the yarn. Each skein was $8, and I used 2 full skeins with just a little bit more of the 3rd skein. So we'll say that the yarn cost was probably 20 bucks, and the pattern was available on Ravelry. I bought it, it was $12, so the final product was, we'll say $32. And yeah, so the yarn is Kobasi on webs, theyarn.com. And after I finished it, my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, tried it on, and it was a little tight around the head. So my bind off was maybe a little tight, but she was able to get it on, and I think we can probably stretch it a little bit. But it looked pretty good on her, and so I'm really excited to present it to my niece, and I hope she likes it. I think she will. My next whip is my work in progress. Is something that I had started a couple months ago, and I don't think I've touched this in a month. I was looking back on my journal, and the last time I worked on this was August 22nd. So I really need to get working on this. This is the Deep Winter Coat by Woolen Pine, and it is a cabled cardigan. So this is the front, and this is the back. If you have seen, sorry about that, my previous episodes, particularly I believe it was the last episode where I was collecting the bark, you will see that I'm wearing a maroon and two-tone gray cardigan that is the same pattern, except for that project I had used three different colors of yarn. This one is just going to be a solid black because that is what my friend had wanted for a sweater. She's been asking for about 4 years now, maybe even 5 years for a sweater, and I'm finally getting around to it. But after knitting that sweater for myself, I really loved the pattern. It was super easy, even though it was somewhat complicated as far as having to knit off of 3 to 4 cabled charts. Once you get the hang of it, it flows pretty nicely, and it's like a puzzle. Like, I just love the cables on this, and I love how this yarn, the Lion brand, the Woolies, I'm holding it double, and you can see the cables really nicely. And it's always nice doing it the second time around, and I know where my mistakes were, and so I'll be able to create a garment that's hopefully perfect. So that is my work in progress, and I hope to get that done before it starts snowing. So of course that could happen anytime in October. But realistically, I hope to get it done by early November, but it will probably be late November, so that way I could spend December working on some Christmas gifts. So let's see, the Lost Tank, the sweater, and I am gonna be just focusing on that, the Deep Winter Coat, but I will also want to be casting on something probably simpler, or I don't know. I haven't even started it yet, so I have actually no idea if it's going to be simple or not, but to me it seems like the Gallus scarf will be a great social knitting thing because it's just garter stitch with short rows, and I would really like to cast that on soon and use up the yarn that I have been dyeing, and really seeing how the yarn shows up. So I'll probably cast that on, and I will have to cast on the night shift shawl once I get all of my yarn from the Maine yarn cruise. 2 more stops, and then I will get everything I'll get all my stamps. So that's exciting. And I think I showed you in the last episode, I think I showed you how I caked it all up and got it all ready. So I think I'm just gonna try and look at my picture of my garden and sort of follow suit with the color combinations and whatnot, and just try and keep the background green with the contrast colors sort of flowing like the photographed flowers are. So we'll see. More to come on that. But that is another project that I will be casting on pretty soon. And let's see, the podcasters that I have been listening to or watching have, some of them have mentioned that they are big fans of Lord of the Rings. And so it's funny that I am actually listening to Lord of the Rings on my commute to and from work. So I'm listening to Audible, the version of Andy Serkis narration, and I was really surprised when I found out that he's actually the voice of Gollum in the movie. So yeah, I really like how theatrical he is with all the different voices and everything. So if you're looking for a good Audible book, I would highly recommend the series, The Hobbit, and I think he narrates all of them. And there's 2 narration versions of it. There's the Robert Inglis and the Andy Serkis. And I don't know why, but yeah. So the other podcaster from the Yellow Little Farmhouse, she's listening to the Robert Inglis one, and she's enjoying that one. So either way, I think it's a win-win. And yeah, so if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, then you'll know that we just had a birthday celebration, right? Bilbo and Frodo had their birthday on September 22nd, so that was just last Friday, and that has gotten me thinking. So of course I went on to Ravelry and Google and just looked up Lord of the Rings patterns, and there's a whole plethora of them out there. So I did see that there's a free pattern of fingerless gloves, and it's the Erebor fingerless gloves by Lena Birkeland, and it's with Aaron Waite yarn, and so I might be casting on that. But we'll see. But I also had the intention of knitting from some of the books that I've had. I know that I talked about that in episode 1. So I gotta really figure out what I'm gonna prioritize here. But I really should prioritize this this deep winter coat. And cause yeah, I got somebody expecting it. And I happily want to be able to give it to her. Hopefully even for Christmas. I hope that I get it done before then. But yeah, it's worsted held double, so I should be able to get through it pretty quick if I stay focused. So I am going to be doing some other dye experiments. I had a friend who processed some beets for me, so thank you, Kim. I will be getting that, and so I have 3 balls left to dye, and I will experiment with that, and I will experiment with the onion skins that I've been collecting. I think I have enough now, and I harvested some Coreopus flowers. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but they're like the little flowers that just bloomed. I think they're past bloom now, but they're the little yellow flowers with the orange centers. So I'm gonna practice with that, and we'll see what colors I get. So I'm going to ask you to leave what your feedback would be in the comments. Would you like to see me go through the process of dyeing the yarn, or would you like to just see the finished product? I'm learning about what works and what doesn't work. And like I said, there's a lot of how-tos out there that are far more skilled than I am, and I just sort of kind of flubber through the process. So, but yeah, if you'd like to see somebody who's totally amateur about it, just go, you can follow along with me. But let me know, and I'll be sure to include whichever seems to be the consensus. I will include it in the next episode. So until then, I hope you have a great week, and I hope you're doing all the things that you love. And feel free to leave in the comments any shares, what you're working on. I love to read the comments and reply and interact with you guys. I really enjoy inspiring you and getting inspiration from you as well. And, if you don't want to miss another episode, hit that subscribe button. And thank you for liking and sharing. Bye now. Here we are in Damariscotta, 74 Main Street, here to visit Harbor Yarns on the Maine cruise. This is the shop. There are two separate shops, the Pine Tree Yarns and then the Harbor Yarns, two different entities. And as you can see, it's filled with blue yarns that Linda dyes. And there's Linda making the indigo magic.
And so you'll knit all of these samples?
Yep, you knit them all and then I make a pattern out of them. I knit them sometimes at least twice. Make sure the pattern's correct.
Yep.
So as Linda was saying here, she knits these patterns up, makes the designs, and then you can buy the patterns, or she also creates kits with the yarns and the patterns. So you can buy the kits to recreate the things that you see in the shop. Here there are just so many beautiful yarns that she's created, and each skein is hand dyed individually, so each skein is unique in its own ways. So lovely. And she only has summer hours, 10 to 4. And there she is, the magic maker. And there are her kits that she's created. And there's some more samples or garments that she's created. So be sure to stop in and say hello. It's worth the stop. Linda showed me these knit fit kits that you can purchase for walking and knitting. And speaking of walking and knitting, this is the perfect place to walk and knit. The terrain is pretty wide and flat and well groomed. This is the Whaleback Shell Midden Trail, which is right off of Main Street, right outside of the downtown area of Damariscotta. and it is a gorgeous little trail, and here I am exploring this trail, and I'm just loving it. And as soon as I'm done filming, I'm going to take out my knitting and practice walking and knitting. I got a sandwich at the local shop, Metcalf's. They had a really yummy menu, and I hope you brought your knitting, because we're just gonna sit here and chill for a little bit. As I'm walking along this path, all I can imagine is the Shire, and I start to pretend that I'm a little hobbit coming home, and I'm filled with such joy to see all of the green and the apple trees and hearing the birds, and I'm just so filled with joy, and I'm so happy that I am listening to this Lord of the Rings series, and I can go out in nature and really think that I'm on these adventures, just like Bilbo and Frodo. I just love it here. It's so beautiful. And then I come across this little guy. Making a mad dash out of the grass. Probably trying to get away from the hum of the lawnmower. Look at him go. If heaven has a scent, I want mine to be filled with fresh cut grass.